Hey everyone, this is Chris.
And this is John Avery Whitaker, and you're listening to Adventures in Odyssey. I pulled out my old Walkman and plugged it into my car radio on the way here and listened to Adventures in Odyssey tapes on the way
Nice.
And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you should listen to them. They're awesome.
It's true. We when we were on our way down to T4G, you played Adventures in Odyssey for Hal and I, and we were at first like, oh, this is so cheesy.
Applesauce. It's a good story.
And then partway through, we're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
She's the worst.
Connie.
Anyway, this is One Cross Radio. And for those that don't know, Steve said a bunch of swear words before we started.
That's not true.
He didn't. He made a joke about doing it, but wow, we're sidetracked already. This is how we do.
That's my fault, but it's good.
Yeah, it's good. Well,
today we're talking about
various new comic book movies and some of the upcoming Marvel movies. But give me
let's
one
talk
sec.
about that.
Yes. Shout out to Rhett and Link and Good Mythical Morning. So before we do that, dear listener, you can't see this, so check out the video on YouTube to see it. But watcher, I'm rocking my One Cross Radio hoodie, and then below it, Shazam! That's not Shazam.
That's
no,
Faith
it
and
is
Fandom.
a
Shazam's a thing now.
It is. Yeah, you're right. Shazam is a movie coming out. Is it this month?
Yeah, I think it's coming around the same time as Captain Marvel, which is ironic. I wrote an article about the two of those things. You should check those out.
Yeah, you should.
2099 onecrossradio.com or whatever that thing is.
2099 One Cross Radio.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that website that he does.
That you also do.
That I'm part of. Yeah, I help with it.
So I'm rocking a Faith and Fandom t-shirt. Thank you very much, Hector Miri and Faith and Fandom. It is awesome, fits great, and it's a great ministry and a great book series. Everybody go check them out. Faith and Fandom is awesome.
Cool. I have a Spider-Man shirt that I think I got from like HMV before it went out of business.
I miss HMV.
Where's it from? No, I think it doesn't tell you. Never mind. Doesn't matter. They wouldn't have HMV in the back even if it was.
No, they wouldn't. But it is the Jack of All Trades T-shirt, which is it's a brand that does a lot of comic book T-shirts.
Cool.
Also, I get a lot of great comic book T-shirts from Redbubble. It's a good site.
Who don't sponsor our show?
No, we're not sponsored at all. Although you can
even by HMV.
No, especially not by HMV. But if you do want to check out our sweet merch, it is coincidentally on Redbubble. Again, not sponsored, not a plug. It is a plug, but not like a sponsored one. Wow. Okay, so today we are talking about comic book movies. You will hear Luna playing with something in the background, as always.
In destruction mode.
Yep. She is the destroyer of worlds. She is Godzilla.
Do you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
No, I haven't since the second season.
Destroyer of Worlds was a thing in season 5.
Okay. Yeah. I'm still surprised it's going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like starting up again in April or something like that.
Oh my
season
goodness!
6. So excited.
Wow. And it didn't fall off because I'm like, well, I'm bored now. It's just I had other shows coming out.
I love it.
I still need to see Daredevil season 3.
Oh my goodness, what's wrong with you?
I haven't been binging new shows as much.
That's healthy.
Probably.
It's really good though.
No, that's the thing I've heard. And then
it starts off slow and then it gets really good.
Well, that's Daredevil season 1 was a terrific slow burn.
Yeah.
Daredevil season 2, after watching Punisher season 1, I found Daredevil season 2 didn't hold up as well. Mostly because that's first time viewing it, you're like, wow, it's really good, and the split focus doesn't hit you as hard.
Yeah,
but the first 4 episodes of season 2 of Daredevil, they're like non-stop.
But we're talking about movies that are coming up soon or have been out recently, and not stuff that's 3 years old. So let's do that.
Let's do that. Although let's also say, Netflix, we're gonna miss your shows. They've officially all the Marvel shows are now officially canceled.
It was gonna happen.
I know.
I wonder if they'll be relaunched on Hulu at some point.
Yeah, that's the thing. If Disney was gonna do it,
we get Hulu in Canada, and if I can decide how many streaming services I want to subscribe to, because that's the downside to this.
Well, right now I've got Netflix and Prime. If the DC one came to Canada, I would get that in a heartbeat. Because then you get all the classic great cartoons, but then also you get the fun light stuff like Lois and Clark.
You have all the classic great cartoons on DVD and Blu-ray anyway.
Yeah, I know, but I'm also lazy. I
don't want to get up and put it in the machine. If I can control it from my phone for $4 a month, I'll definitely do that.
But then I also get comics and stuff.
That's true. It's like the Marvel Comics Unlimited app. I pay for that. That's like pays for itself in a month. It's so great.
And have you seen... we'll get to the movies in a second. Have you seen Umbrella Academy?
No.
I'm like 7 or 8 episodes in.
Oh, yeah?
It's terrific.
Okay.
It is like... I was wondering what it was going to be like. No real sexuality of anything to speak of, so that's automatically the thing that I'd be like, I need to avoid this. Nothing like that, and it's the acting solid, the story heavy. It's really good. It's a pleasant surprise.
All right.
Yeah, it was nice. Like when I see stuff that I don't have the vested interest in, sometimes to actually go there and not be horrendously disappointed looking at you, Jessica Jones season 2.
Yep.
On to movies.
So, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse just won an Oscar last night for Best Animated Picture.
As it should.
It was good.
Yeah, no, that movie was terrific. I'm barely in the shot. Yeah, we haven't really talked about...
No, we haven't done a podcast in a while.
No, and we haven't had the chance to hang out in months.
That's true. So you guys get to watch us hang out.
Exactly.
If you haven't caught that from Chris's podcast yet, they're barely focused.
One of the more focused ones was weirdly the solo one I just did on Godzilla, where I'm like, I've got to be focused, so I had a stack of DVDs with me just to keep me on track.
Chris's favorite Godzilla is the one from 1998 or whatever.
I will hit you in the face. See? Didn't lie. Anyways,
he's a truthful man.
Yeah, I am. Into the Spider-Verse. What did you think about that one?
Yeah, it was good. When I went and saw it, there was an issue with the audio in the theater.
No.
So it was fine. I just when there was an action scene and there was dialogue at the same time, I really couldn't hear what they were saying during the dialogue. Sucks. And I tried to tell the people in the movie theater, and they're like, well, no one else complained. And I was like, well, I'm complaining. And they were like, okay, here's 2 free movies. I was like, sounds good. You should probably fix that too, because I'm not just trying to be difficult.
Yeah.
Anyway, they didn't believe me. So I got 2 free movies, and I'll use that for something else at some point. But yeah, it was good. It was really well done and brilliant to watch, like just stunning visually and all the things that everyone else has already said about 1,000 times.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it very much. Very Spider-Man-y.
It was definitely my favorite live action. Sorry, not live action. Definitely my favorite Spider-Man movie. Period. It's blown for me all live action movies out of the water. Especially after, around the time I saw it, I revisited Spider-Man 2.
You and I have talked about this recently on the podcast.
Yeah, no. I revisited Spider-Man 2. I was like, because every once in a while, I like to revisit movies that I used to hate, just to see, hey, maybe it wasn't the movie, maybe it was me just watching it at the time. Like, Titanic is an example of one where I used to hate that movie, and now it's I've grown to love it. It's a terrific film. Cannot say that's the case for Spider-Man 2 without going into ripping on it, because that's what I do. I ended up being like, okay, if this is the best Spider-Man movie, there's a lot of room for improvement. And I didn't think it was the best live-action Spider-Man movie, but this one blew all Spider-Man movies away. The soundtrack was amazing. It's one of the few soundtracks I've seen or had in a movie in a while where it was a character in the film.
Okay.
It was
what do you mean by that?
It had a presence. Each song seemed to serve a purpose. It influenced the scenes around it. It wasn't just Suicide Squad being an example where it's someone's just pressing skip on shuffle on their iPod, where it's now let's do this, now let's do this. Closest thing I compare is Guardians, especially the first one. Mm-hmm. The music very much fit with everything. Mm-hmm. This, it summed up Miles, it summed up what he was going through in the scene, it added to it. It was like watching a comic book.
Listening to the soundtrack was like watching a comic book.
I switched to the movie in general there.
I mean, it was. I think that's what a lot of people really appreciated about it, is that it caught the character of Miles in a way that even Miles' comic hasn't in a long time.
Yeah.
Bendis who wrote the book, just sort of seemed to be off. Off his game in the last little bit of that character since he's been in the main universe and stuff.
Right.
And bringing Spider-Gwen and kind of her visual aesthetic, because that comic book has its own kind of punk rock feel to it.
Yeah. Have you read Spider-Gwen?
I've read a couple issues of it. I've never. It's on my list to read on Marvel Comics Unlimited, which also doesn't sponsor this podcast.
Nope.
But
at Marvel Comics Unlimited, if you'd like to, we'd be happy to have you sponsor.
Yeah. Like I'd like to read them at some point. Yeah, I'm just familiar with the character because she comes into a lot of other things, and yeah. It's interesting. I think one of the things this is off topic again. One of the cool things about Spider-Gwen is that the main villain in general in it is Matt Murdock as the Kingpin.
Yeah.
And he has the exact same backstory as in the regular universe. It's just he made a different decision because his backstory is so tragic. It's like we don't even have to change anything. He just could have been bad.
Yeah.
So
that's the one interesting thing. Like with so many Spider-Man stories, especially Elseworlds or like Earth whatever, sometimes it's huge differences. But then with Spider-Gwen, I noticed even though there's visual differences and there are larger differences, some of it like that, it's just spun off of this character just making a slightly different decision. Mm-hmm. Spider-Gwen, I've got the first volume and I've read some others. I'm going back to collect the other ones.
Like in
the trade paperbacks,
okay.
Because that's generally
that first
how
Edge of Spider-Verse is pretty expensive right now.
Yeah. No, her title I'm definitely going to get. And I've enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to the Gwenom stuff. Mm-hmm. I like the visual for it. I love her costume. It's a different Gwen Stacy, but it's still there's enough there that remind you of original Gwen.
Yeah, and it I think part of what gave it so much gas in the tank, I guess, is that it takes a character who's basically just known for being the girlfriend who died and giving her own agency and making her a character that's interesting and flipping that trope on its head. But it was good. I mean, I think like all the different pieces of that movie, coming back to the Spider-Verse, were just really well done. Nick Cage as Spider-Man Noir was so good.
I know.
And the stinger at the end with Spider-Man 2990 being Spider-Man from the 60s show was hilarious.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Which I realized just the other day, in the same year, Nick Cage was Superman and a Spider-Man.
He was Superman?
Yeah, he voiced Superman in Teen Titans Go to the Movies.
Oh, really?
Which was a nice nod to Superman Lives.
Yeah.
And then he was Spider-Man Noir. I'm like, wow, Nick Cage, who has a documented love of comic books, I'm like, that's a pretty awesome year for him. And he was hilarious in both roles. Cool. Spider-Man Noir almost stole the show for me at points, which certain characters you weren't expecting that from. And every character kind of got their moment to shine, but it was definitely Miles' movie. What's kind of interesting, that whole movie is great. I can't wait to buy it. And there will be a sequel, and they've said they're going to do a mostly female or a planned female spin-off where it's like Spider-Gwen, Spider-Woman, and Silk. Which I don't...
Silk? Oh, don't do Silk.
I like Silk. Not her origin.
I just a dumb character.
I'll disagree. I don't care for Silk's origin as much because that part was weird. But I dig her costume. They kind of came up with her own thing where in her solo title, because I've read that. And she's like, "Look, Peter, I gotta keep you at a distance, just because otherwise nothing's gonna."
That's the thing, though. Like, she's such an unnecessary character. They invented her for the Spider-Verse comic, and I don't think they realized that Spider-Gwen was going to take off, right?
Yeah.
And I think they were hoping to make Silk what Spider-Gwen became. But just the concept behind Spider-Gwen is so much better than the concept behind Silk. Silk is the other person that got bit by the spider secretly that nobody knew about, and she'd been locked in a bunker for however long it's been since Spider-Man got bit by a spider, and everyone thought she was dead, and for some reason she has this pheromone attraction to Peter Parker where they can't help but just have sex every time they're around each other.
That origin is...
And it's just like... They call her in the original Spider-Verse comic book, which is fun because of they had a whole bunch of tie-in comics that were really great, but the story itself isn't very good. She's the Spider Bride, and it's just kind of weird. Yeah, I just find her like, I'm sure I haven't read her. Yeah, her ongoing. I'm sure it's fine, but
I'd recommend her because her original series was a limited one, and then she got a new first issue because that's the new thing with
What happened with a lot of stuff is there was a couple series that came out of that Spider-Verse crossover. Spider-Woman had a really, really, really good run after that too. But it happened like 5 months before Secret Wars, which relaunched the whole universe. So there's a ton of books that kind of started and they had to relaunch with after issues 7 or 8 because they relaunched the whole Marvel universe with Secret Wars.
I guess that's what happened with Silk. I'm not sure because Squirrel Girl's original solo title was coming out at the same time, and
the Mighty Thor, where Jane Foster is the new Thor,
is she still
the same thing? No, she died.
Oh,
so he's back.
Jane.
Yeah, well, that was what was going to happen.
Yeah,
right? It was a good. I haven't read past Secret Wars. It's on my to read list on Marvel Comics Unlimited, which doesn't sponsor her podcast.
Doesn't sponsor us,
but it might as well.
I did especially from her solo title. I generally like Silk because they got away from that.
Yeah.
She was very much like whenever Peter was, "Hey, do you need any help? I'm around." It would just kind of be like, "Look, we talk, but very firm line." So I'm like, "Great, I'm not going to be reading a comic with people jumping each other every couple pages." And then she's got a really good solo quest, and then what I like with the title is just seeing her going through the training, because so many of the characters, spider characters or anyone, it's almost like as soon as they get their powers, they're just like a page later, "Oh, I'm good to go." Like Kane, as much as I liked his solo Scarlet Spider run, he was very much there was none of that.
Like the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie from the 2000s.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. It's a terrible movie. Or if we want a visual comparison to go back to the movie topic, Miles in this movie, he trained for half the movie. Mm-hmm. That was
he had to take the plunge, right?
Yeah, that was a nice thing because that wasn't even the original Garfield Spider-Man.
Andrew Garfield. I was picturing Garfield.
Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, no. Even in Amazing Spider-Man, and then. My bad. The original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Sorry, movies. I just was picturing Garfield the cat. I understand. What
as Spider-Man? Oh, that would be an interesting.
What are you talking about? Andrew Garfield had that whole scene where he was swinging around to Coldplay.
Yeah, I know. But my point was, it was limited to that, and the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, it was limited to I'm gonna make weird faces while I climb a wall, and that was basically it. And then
he did the whole thing while he was
that stupid thing.
Swing.
Yeah, I hate that movie. So Into the Spider-Verse was great. To be honest, if Sony just did this is the comic book movie universe from Sony that I could get behind.
The comic book multiverse.
The comic book multiverse.
Are you telling me that you don't want to see Jared Leto in the Morbius movie?
Did anybody ask for a Morbius movie?
Some executive obviously did.
But here's the thing.
What are they doing? They're not doing the Silver and Black movie anymore. That one got canned.
No, that one got canned.
They're doing a Kraven movie, I think. That's supposed to be based on Kraven's Last Hunt, even though we haven't seen him before.
And that's the thing. I don't get it.
Yeah.
How are we jumping to all these Venom? Venom, to give it credit, it was slightly better than I thought it would be. When you adjust your expectations, but it's bad. It's still at points
like a turd in the wind.
At points it's fun. That movie would have actually been better if it was R-rated, because then not I want violence for violence sake, but when the whole promise is symbiote head biting off chaos and carnage. At least if it delivers that, I can ignore. Yeah, I can ignore the other crappy stuff.
The sequel with what's his name? The guy who's gonna play Carnage.
Yeah.
Wood something.
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
That was the worst. I watched the post credit scene. I haven't seen, but that was the worst wig I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, no, it was a terrible wig.
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson, I'm an interesting choice. The guy I thought about after Earl Jackie Haiti would have been friggin'. I think he would not.
No idea who that is.
He played Rorschach in Watchmen.
I haven't seen it.
It's good. Okay. I prefer the movie over the comic.
haven't read the comic.
Yeah, no.
I tried twice, couldn't get through it.
People
too messed up.
Don't hate me too hard. I find the comic overrated.
I couldn't finish it, so don't hate me either.
I get what it did for comics, but at the same point, I'm like, there's a giant friggin' land-bound octopus or squid at the end. This is what's going on.
Spoilers.
Yeah, well, it's been out since the 80s. Deal with it. All right, so yeah, after Into the Spider-Verse, the next comic book movie that came out was Aquaman, which you didn't see. I'm
kind of done with DC.
Which I kind of understand. Aquaman, you know what? I was pleasantly surprised by. It's I'd put it up there with Wonder Woman, actually. Like, at points, the dialogue is terrible. Just, like, laughably bad. Mm-hmm. But, to give credit where it's due, some of the costumes are, like, some of the most comic-accurate costumes I've ever seen.
Yeah, I heard that it took the source material and realized it was ridiculous and just kind of ran with it and made a ridiculously fun movie.
To an extent. I still love... Like, it lifted a lot from the first...
Jeff Johns.
From Jeff Johns' run. Which I still want to see that Aquaman on the big screen, because it was still very much at points like Aqua Bro. Which Jason Momoa did a great job, period.
Get him to shave his beard and his long hair. And
but when he wasn't playing like the bro version of the character, like when he was more serious, that's when he shone.
I want to see him with a 90s hook.
See, you're getting the 90s part with the hair and the beard.
Yeah. I want the hook.
But then you got like Ocean Master's the villain, and his costume is like insanely comic accurate. Aquaman, when he gets his...
Isn't Black Manta also the villain in there?
Yeah,
the big laser helmet?
Yeah, which I love Black Manta, and I love... if anything in that movie was going to hit the cutting room floor for me, it would have been the Black Manta stuff, which... Not that it was bad, but it was just... There was too much movie, in a way. Where it's like, okay, it's been 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, we need an action sequence. Oh, let's bring in the Manta stuff. The Manta stuff is rich enough to carry its own movie. It's probably going to be what the sequel is, because this one was very much like, hey, we want to take over the, like, flood the world and do that whole story.
Yeah.
So the next movie has to be smaller. So if I'm looking at stuff to cut, you could have trimmed the Manta stuff, just had it have his intro scene, then have the post-credit scene just slightly redone, and that's it. Like, that's all Manta needed to be in the movie. Not that the actor did a bad job, or that the visuals for him weren't great, because they were. Both aspects were true. The guy did a terrific job. The outfit was awesome. Manta looks cool. Manta is cool, so I want more of him, but...
So here's what I heard. I heard that something about it wasn't completely in continuity with the Snyderverse DC stuff, and that it kind of is like a soft break from what came before in some ways.
I wouldn't say there was anything in there that made me think it wasn't.
Okay.
Because there was even
except that it was fun.
Yeah. Well, also there was a scene that flashed back to, not flashback, but showed something from all the way back to Man of Steel. Not splashback. Oh, I should have used splashback. Dang it.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah, no, like, because in Man of Steel, when there was a rumor, like, oh, hey, Aquaman kind of helped Superman when the oil rig exploded. Oh, yeah. And they showed, like, as Ocean Master was going off about, like, all the terrible things mankind has done to the ocean and blah, blah, blah. They show, like, that. They show that scene, so then everybody's like, oh, snap. Okay. And then it was a little confirmation that, yeah, like, Superman wouldn't have died, but Aquaman got him in a better position.
But, I mean, Cavill's out.
Not officially.
Affleck's out. Affleck's out officially.
Affleck's out officially, yeah.
I mean,
Cavill's not out officially. Oh. Which I really don't want him to go, because to me that's almost the biggest missed opportunity.
Sure.
The 10 minutes, like, his last part in Justice League, where I'm like, that, like, their use of Superman at the tail end of Justice League was perfect. He's got a great Superman in him.
It was the big upper lip that made it work.
No.
That was so bad.
So terrible. Like, but
I watched that on a screen this big on the back of a seat in an airplane, and you could tell that his lip looked weird. Like, how do you not fix that better? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a manly mustache you just can't cover up.
No, and that mustache was majestic in Mission Impossible.
I think they should have just went with it as it was.
Yeah, no, they should have. It's like he died, he came back. Like in the comics, he came back with a beard.
Superman has to have a mustache every once in a while, and it takes a lot to shave it, and it comes back quickly.
Well, exactly. He came back in the comics.
Easily explained.
In the comics, he came back with a beard and a mullet. Like his hair grew, so just roll with it.
Are you sure he didn't just die with a mullet too? It was the 90s.
Yeah, that's fair. Anyways, yeah, Aquaman. The best credit I can give it is it figured out how it was the best ending for a DC movie because they all end in the giant CGI battles, but this one you could actually see because it was
like the Mediterranean Sea.
Yes, and also visually because it's underwater. There was actual like vibrant colors. It wasn't dark, and here's some fire, and you can barely see crap. Sorry, there's puns here. You could actually see everything, and then what was nice was it went from like a giant battle, and then it shrunk to a one-on-one. Let's trim out the CGI stuff, and that one-on-one went for a good 5 minutes or so. Cool. So it went from a larger conflict back down to the personal one, which is what the story needed. So that was Wonder Woman. As much as everybody praises it, its first 2 acts are amazing, but then when it gets to the final act and it's just a giant CGI battle, that's where it kind of loses its wheels a bit.
And also a rehash of Captain America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aquaman, I can say, did not do that. Okay. So that it's a step in the right direction. I'm not 100% ready to give up on the DC movies, although I don't know what they're doing, and I don't think Warner Brothers even knows what they're doing.
That's what I was thinking. Like the whole Snyder thing is kind of done. And they're just like, let's just have fun with it, right? So they're doing like, so this one, Aquaman, they're doing the Shazam movie.
Yeah.
Which looks fun.
I'm going to see it.
Yeah, I probably won't see it in theaters, but.
Fair.
They're doing Joaquin Phoenix's Joker origin movie.
Which is not connected.
At all?
No.
Oh, so and there's a guy who's going to do the Batman movie still working on that.
Matt Reeves.
Yeah, and then they're doing Harley Quinn Birds of Prey movie.
Yep.
And James Gunn is directing the new.
Is he? I know he's writing it. It's officially.
Oh, I don't know directing. He's involved with at least the.
He's writing Suicide Squad 2.
Suicide Squad 2, which isn't going to have Harley Quinn in it, I guess, or maybe.
Yes, maybe.
I don't know.
Although there's also rumors like it's going to feature a new cast of characters.
Yeah, but again, it's sort of like distancing itself from what came before.
Yeah.
So I just don't know how that's going to lead into. Or if they're even going to bother to try and do more Justice League stuff.
Yeah,
right?
and that's the thing. Like
I feel like if it wasn't for Wonder Woman and Aquaman referencing stuff from the Justice League and Batman vs Superman, Dawn of Justice, with a little bit of Wonder Woman and a Ninja Turtle, Cave Troll, you could just sort of scrap it and start over with fun movies and build it up to something good.
Yeah.
Because they just they flubbed that the first time, right? They didn't do it right.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know.
Yeah, there was Honest Trailers made the joke years ago when we got Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man out in the same year.
Yeah,
and they were like, because we're Marvel and we just take our projects on a dare.
Yeah,
and now more so, I'm like, I feel like that's what DC's doing. They're just like, let's throw something at the wall and see what sticks.
Because Marvel's got a lot of weird crap, but not like DC. DC's still got like the Golden Age stuff and things that they've bought from other people. And I mean, Shazam.
Yeah.
Previously known as Captain Marvel until licensing stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's like the strangest idea. Like it's like a little kid meets a wizard in a subway tunnel named Shazam, gets the powers of Shazam, so that when he says Shazam, he turns into used to be Captain Marvel and now Shazam.
Yeah.
And he turns into it's Superman who's really a kid who becomes an adult. It's a really cool idea.
Superman with magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which doesn't work with Superman because Superman's allergic to magic.
Allergic?
Well, it's one of his weaknesses.
Yeah.
You can call it an allergy.
And on a side note, best use of Shazam I think I've seen so far in any DC use has probably been Young Justice. And have
you seen season 3 of that? No, you don't have the DC thing.
No, but I checked it out.
Yeah, that's you.
Listen, I don't have the DC thing. I want to watch it, Steve.
I understand. I want to watch it too. I actually, when the first 2 were out and I was younger, and I didn't watch them legally either. That's true. But I don't do it now.
Yeah, that's fair. Well,
well, we can end.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. Also, and his use in DC animated movies, that's where I give them all the credit in the world. Like they knock it out of the park with their animation department and their animation movies.
Yeah. The only one I've seen recently was the Flashpoint one, and that was like hyper violent.
Yeah, no, it was messed up.
That was gory.
It was messed up and
like
awesome.
was it shot through the Reverse Flash's head, and then you see like the inside of his brain.
Yeah, that part was messed up.
What is going on?
Also, but what I loved with that one in particular was the Thomas Wayne, and then you get that brief little bit of the origin of the Flashpoint Batman, where it's like Thomas becomes Batman and Martha becomes the Joker, and Jill didn't know that, so when she watched it, she was like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know, it's sweet." But also their New 52, they're because they got a New 52 continuity.
In the comic cartoon movies?
In the cartoon movies, they've got a couple different continuities, but one was the formation of the Justice League based on the New 52, and Shazam in that is hilarious. It's also really good.
Shazam.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that movie. It was shot around Hamilton and Toronto, which is really cool because when I saw the trailer, that was the stuff I got the most excited about, which I feel
It's like
bad
the
for
Incredible
saying.
Hulk. He's like fighting on Yonge Street, and I was like, "Hey, it's Big Slice."
or I'm like,
or Zanzibar.
yeah, you see Zanzibar. I'm like, it's Zanzibar.
Yeah, it's a strip.
I should not be excited to see a strip club.
It's noticeable.
It's
a big neon sign.
I've never been in there, but it's
no.
just you're like, hey.
Yeah.
And
That's
yeah,
why I went with Big Slice, but it's true.
fair.
It's true.
Or Sam the Record Man,
which
that's the
may
one.
it rest in peace.
Yeah. But then Shazam,
Wow,
it was actually part of it was filmed like right around the corner from here.
Yeah.
When I saw the trail, I'm like,
part of it's at Danforth Tech, right by me.
Yeah. When the part around the corner actually passed by the night of filming on my way home, I was going to go into the store and they were like, "Hey, we're closed for filming." I was like, "Oh, okay, right on."
Can I be an extra?
And then I walked home, and then sure enough, I see it. I was like,
"That's the store where he's like, may I have one of your finest beers or finest?"
It's the grocery. No, it's the grocery store where he's walking around, and the two guys are mugging it, and then he punches them out.
Oh yeah, because he goes into a convenience store and asks for beer, right? And they tell him because it's supposed to take place in America, not Canada.
Yeah, I
you
think
can't
so.
do that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, on a total side note, the Umbrella Academy is filmed. It was filmed in Hamilton, so Jill and I have been geeking out whenever.
Well,
we
Ellen
see
Page
it.
is Canadian, right?
Yes, she is. So then we got Captain Marvel coming up quite soon.
And then Avengers really soon after that. And then I'm having a baby, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to see all of them. Anyway.
Be able to. Well, they bumped up the dates.
And then Spider-Man. Yeah.
They bumped up the dates, so now you'll be able to for sure.
I'm looking forward to Captain Marvel. I mean, I just love the MCU movies, even when they're not always all great. Like, Ant-Man and the Wasp was fine. I liked Black Panther. You know, not my favorite movies ever. I mean, Infinity War blew me away, but I just so invested in the universe that's unlike what DC has done, is really kind of taken time to build up, and it's good. There's a little bit of mishap with the continuity now because of Spider-Man: Homecoming and their timeline thing, but like whatever. Most people don't even know that, but like I just enjoy these movies. I enjoy them all. You know, some people are getting tired of it, think it's getting bloated and formulaic. I just love it. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
It world builds in a way that I enjoy, and I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., as we mentioned before. This is going to have Coulson in it as a younger man. And
I can't remember the last time Samuel L. Jackson looked this young.
When he was that young.
No, I don't even...
Apparently, though, they've done a really good job with the de-aging.
I don't even think he looked that young when he was that young.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
it's an amazing technology that they're able to do now. Hey, like
I remember like X-Men Origins, terrible movie.
Yeah, it looks like they just Vaselined.
Yeah, that like CGI'd and Vaseline, and you're like, that is not a human.
Professor
being.
Xavier comes in at the end of it, and it's in the past,
awful.
and he's supposed to look young, but he looks like he's made out of Jello
terrible.
and Vaseline.
Whereas now, even in comparison to Rogue One, like Rogue One, I thought or reconstructing.
I didn't think that looked real at all in Rogue One. I knew what they were trying to do, and I
was fine with it at certain points, and at other points I'm like, okay, maybe not.
I thought it looked like a really good video game when they did that with Tarkin and Leia.
That's fair.
So,
but in comparison to that, you're like, wow, they're getting really good with the de-aging. You got that in Civil War as well with young Tony.
Yeah,
you're like, dang, that does look like young Downey Jr.
Looks like him in U.S. Marshals.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Captain Marvel.
Skrulls, dude.
I know. Skrulls. Like it's. The first trailer didn't wow me. The second trailer, except for the part where she punches an old lady in the face, then there's no context. I'm like, I'm down for this because I love random stuff like that. Yeah. It made me laugh a lot because I'm odd like that. And then
that's true.
Yes, yeah. Because I'll laugh when I shouldn't. The second trailer I thought was a lot better. The Super Bowl spot didn't really do anything for me.
I don't even know if I saw that one.
Whereas the Avengers one got me even more hyped. I was like, man, they look so down. I love it. Yeah, I'm excited for it. Like at this point, I'm trying to stay away from anything on the internet about it, just because people are the worst.
Yeah, she did an interview with a woman and they asked, why did you with me? And she's like, because I think women need to have more opportunity, which is fine. And then a bunch of guys are like, well, she made it clear she doesn't want men watching her movie.
Yeah, it's like that's not what she said.
Shut up!
Yeah, like,
anyway.
Just to go on a rant, those people who are like, she's being offensive, are the same people who are like, people get too offended these days. Like, it's a two-way street, bro. Shut up.
Yeah. It's interesting. My sister-in-law has a 2-year-old boy, and he has 2 older sisters, so he watches a bunch of movies with them, and he wants to be Elsa or Elastigirl. And my sister-in-law is like, I want him to want to be a boy, but there's no movies that have strong boy characters. So when she found out that Captain Marvel was a girl, she's like, oh, come on. So it's kind of a weird alternate perspective that you hear, but I get it. Like, you want, assuming that you believe that gender matters, right? And that like, you don't want your 2-year-old wanting to be a girl.
No, and and it's so odd that I get it. That, yes, gender does matter, but I don't. I've got no issue with a female-led movie.
Mm. No, me neither.
Women make up 50% of the population, so that's where it's. I think I said.
I've heard the quote before from a man. I'm 50% woman on my mom's side.
And to me, it's like, as long as the movie's good, as long as as long as it's well done, then I'm in. Yeah. It's like, I haven't watched it in forever, but I've heard a lot of less than good things about the ongoing Supergirl show, because now it didn't start this way. But I've heard, it's really gotten to the point where it's just like, oh, let's throw political talking points in that.
The CW shows in general are very young adulty. Let's put up a lot of agenda stuff.
Yeah, and where it's like, but
they're just crappy
I've heard
shows.
It's almost in for no rhyme or reason. Yeah. Where it's just like this. Oh, men do this all the time. It's like, what does that have to do with anything? Whereas when I watched the first 12 episodes, and then at the time, I'm like, I really dig the show because it reminds me of the old Superman movies. Mm-hmm. It's nice watching a Superman-esque thing, or Supergirl, where it's like, wow, this is optimistic. It's
definitely the best live-action Supergirl that they've ever done.
Yes, it is.
That other one from the 80s or 90s was
terrible.
Not good.
Yeah, no.
Not good.
And the only thing I ever got out of that first season, at least the 12 episodes I saw, was within the first episode, where she got her butt whooped by another character earlier, and then she's going back to face him, and the guy who you later find out is Martian Manhunter, spoilers, is expressing doubts about it, and then her sister's like, why? Because she's a girl? I'm like, that's really out of left field. I'm pretty sure it's because 20 minutes ago she got the crap kicked out of her. And if it was Superman and it was his first time out, dude would probably be expressing the same thing. But that was it. And you're like, okay, you can kind of roll with it. I get what they're going for.
Except that Superman gets the crap kicked out of him all the time to show that this is actually a threat, right?
Yeah, because if Superman was at his full power, you wouldn't need a Justice League.
I feel the same thing for Flash, actually.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Or you get, with the X-Men movies, you could go with Quicksilver. If the honest trailer or the How It Should Have Ended pointed out, Days of Future Past, as great as it was, it's like, well, if you just took Quicksilver, there wouldn't be a movie.
Yeah.
But
there's the comics that Mark Millar wrote for the Ultimate Comics, the Ultimates. They have Wanda and Pietro on the team.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, it's weird, but those comics are very adultish. But they had this huge fight with the Chitauri, which is where that came from. At the end of it, all the Ultimates, the Avengers, come up to Quicksilver and was like, where were you? And he's like, I was there the whole time. I saved your life 18 times. You just didn't see me.
Yeah, I'd love that'd be great for a moment like that in any of the movies.
Yeah.
Out of Captain Marvel, I've got hopes. Wonder Woman is a good example of a great female-led film that is empowering to women, and that's good. And it's not at the expense. It's not done like men suck, women great. It's like, no, we all kind of suck, and here's a strong female character. Mm-hmm. So that out of tone, that's all I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I didn't love Wonder Woman.
That's fair.
I hope that this is, you're kind of out of the shot a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
I hope that I like Captain Marvel better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Wonder Woman was fine. It was definitely the best one they had done to that point.
Oh yeah.
And probably still. But yeah. Yeah, and then we have, at the end of April, Avengers Endgame.
I know.
Which is going to be...
And can I just say, I love how restrained the marketing for this movie has been.
They don't need to market it.
I know.
Everyone's like, what the crap happened after the last one?
But of course, you still want the trailer. You want to see stuff. I've heard rumors that apparently every shot we've seen has been within like the first half hour. Where I'm like, that's terrific. Because there's been no big action set pieces. There's no reveals.
Yeah, so far just been everyone's sad.
Except for at the end of the I think we've only got one trailer, the Ant-Man showing up part.
Oh yeah.
And even that I didn't have a problem with. I'm like, it's a joke that works, but it's still like everybody's still horrendously depressed.
And Donatello showing up. My family's dead. That's how it should have ended trailer for it.
Right. Yeah, I like that. I love the marketing for it. I can't wait for that movie. Seriously, can't wait.
Yeah, we've done a whole thing about what we think is going to happen. So I don't know. There's much more to say about it because we don't really know anything yet.
No.
Obviously, Doctor Strange and the Quantum Realm and Captain Marvel and
I'm wondering
Nebula.
how much all of this is going to play in.
I'm sure that, it's Marvel. They're going to come out of left field and surprise us. Yeah. But, yeah.
Because there's, that one I'll kind of look at some rumors more just because I'm curious. And some people are like, okay, they're setting... Some people's worries for no real reason is like, oh, it's going to be Captain Marvel saving the day to push an agenda, which I don't think...
definitely got to do with Doctor Strange, right? Yeah. Because Doctor Strange, I just rewatched Infinity War recently. He says, there's only one way we can beat him, right? And then I'm not going to give up the Infinity Stone, and then he does. Yeah. And then right before he disappears, he says, we're in the end game now. Yeah. And the movie's called Avengers Endgame, so you're like, oh, Doctor Strange knows what he's doing. Yeah. Okay.
Some rumors have been like they're going to introduce Adam Warlock, where I'm like, I wonder. I've never been a huge Adam Warlock fan. Mm-hmm. I'd love it if they introduced Nova, or maybe they'll do a bunch of introductions into the post-credits. Yeah. There's a tightrope here to walk because characters are leaving. Yeah. So it's going to be, you want to set up new characters, but at the same point you don't. Yeah. There's a balance.
They've definitely set up for a new Nova to be in it in one of the movies because in the comic books, the Nova Corps that they showed in Guardians of the Galaxy isn't what the Nova Corps is. Yeah. They're like the Green Lantern Corps, basically. Yeah. It's a rip-off of the Green Lantern Corps. But there's a story that came out in the early mid 2000s by a couple of guys named Andy Landing and Dan Abnett, I think are their names, and it was really, really good. And it's about like this one kid who'd been Nova since the 90s. He's the original character. The whole Nova Corps gets wiped out, and he has all the power of the Nova Corps in just him. Right. And so I assume that because they said that Xandar has been decimated by Thanos, that they're probably going to go that route with him and make a Nova character. Yeah. In that thing, I don't know. They're gonna. I just feel like there's enough story to tell in Endgame without him. Yeah. But they have the Eternals movie coming out. They have. I assume at some point Guardians 3 is going to come out. Well,
there's Guardians. I was going to say that's in the almost most interesting position because with James Gunn being done. Taika Waititi has gone on record saying he wouldn't do it. Yeah. It's a big franchise for them, but it's almost in a precarious enough position that it might be like either we keep the current roster with the exception of maybe Rocket or Groot, dead because everybody but Rocket was snapped. Yeah.
And Nebula.
Yeah, Rocket and Nebula. So maybe you could establish a new Guardians, introduce them at the end, or it could just be we might be done with the Guardians because that will be an uphill battle to do a third one.
But Chris Pratt's one of the most bankable people they have right now, right? They're going to do something with him.
Oh yeah. So, but he also he said he's willing to walk. Like they did, and Batista is definitely like hundo P out the door.
He's pretty angry.
Yeah, no, he's even said to James Gunn like, "Hey, sign me up." When he saw that he was writing and possibly directing Suicide Squad, he's like, "Sign me up, I'm in."
Well, they have a contract that they're not allowed to appear in the movies by the other side for a certain number of years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they can't do both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting because I want more comic book movies, but I'm also like in this universe, I'm down for all the keeping going with this universe. But at the same point, I am a fan of good closure.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you ever had an opportunity to like wrap things up,
well,
it's this movie.
And so this movie, I firmly believe will be a wrap up for the original Avengers because that's who's left, right?
Yeah.
The original roster, if you include Rhodey in that and Rocket. And Nebula, they're the ones that survived the snap, right? And so this is going to be the last hurrah for them, and whether they...
Except for Black Widow, because she's getting a movie.
Right, but and I think Thor's going to continue. And
Thor will probably.
And I'm not guaranteed that any of them are going to necessarily die, but that as the Avengers,
right? Yeah,
they're going to be mostly done, and then you'll have, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Black Panther, whoever else is in that, Ant-Man, and the Wasp, as the new Avengers. I'm pretty sure that's kind of where it's going to end up, which is fine. So yeah, I think we'll get some good closure on the originals, plus kind of a launch into the next phase of things.
Yeah.
I mean, the reality of it is like those guys are getting old, man.
Oh yeah.
Like Downey Jr.'s in his 50s now.
Yeah.
Like, that's and you can see like Don Cheadle looks old. Like he's aged a lot since they brought him in.
Oh yeah.
They bring Terrence Howard back.
I think that would be another thing that nobody's asking for, because I find Cheadle to be the much better Rhodey.
Oh, for sure. He's a good actor. Yeah.
Not that Terrence Howard isn't a good actor. I didn't care for his Rhodey as much. Yeah.
So then after that is Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yep.
Or no, Spider-Man Far From Home.
Spider-Man Far From Home, which the European trailer I found substantially better than.
Did you notice that he doesn't swear in that one?
Yeah.
They dubbed what Flash calls Peter at the end of the trailer,
which I loved that Flash moment. Like I'm still iffy on some of the changes that they've done.
Yeah.
But that I'm like, nope, that's very much that's Flash Thompson. That's a very Flash Thompson Peter Parker moment.
Yeah.
They nailed that part, so that's great.
Yeah.
It's so funny though. I swear, if Marvel had more of a control of when the trailers would come out, you wouldn't have gotten that trailer before.
Yeah.
When we got it, because now it's just like, well, hey, Spider-Man's coming back, which you knew.
Yeah.
But at the same point, like now it's, even though you knew, it's absolutely official.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, okay, well, that's some tension that's kind of gone.
Yeah. I'm interested to see, what's going on with that movie. It seems like Mysterio is trying to show himself up as a superhero, which is actually in the original, one of the really early, maybe the first Mysterio story. He comes and he tries to make himself look better than Spider-Man. He's just trying to get notoriety for himself. But they have these elementals of looks like Sandman and Aquaman or an Aquaman. Hydro-Man. Yeah, not
Aquaman.
And maybe Molten Man, or they're just some kind of big monsters that he's created to defeat. But yeah, it's good. It looks good.
Yeah.
And then Nick Fury,
which I kind of like that. That reminded me of, I can't remember what. Probably
the part where he walks into the room and
no. But there's, I guess more so the ultimate run, which this is very inspired by, where he first starts meeting agents from S.H.I.E.L.D. and they're like, "You're not ready for this. Like, what are you doing?"
Yeah. So the rumor is there's a guy cast in the movie that looks very much like Kraven,
right?
Who people are saying that maybe he's going to be Chameleon. I don't know why that connection got made, but and so that maybe that's not actually Nick Fury,
right?
Which is an interesting twist on it. Now, Sam Jackson and Colby Smulders are both in the movie, so they might be in it at some point. But and I guess are back from the dead as well. But it'd be interesting to see what's going on with those characters and all that kind of stuff too. And
I did like from the trailer that they showed Aunt May being very supportive of him being Spider-Man. Yeah, I like that they just kind of ripped that Band-Aid off and didn't leave you wondering, like, how that's going to be. It reminded me of Into the Spider-Verse, where that universe's Ultimate Universe is Peter Parker, because it was the like you're led to believe it is the Ultimate Universe, like loosely.
Yeah, I guess so.
That like that Aunt May was crazy supportive because she finds out in the Ultimate Comics, right, and she's supportive of him.
Yeah, at some point she finds out. I forget what it is. It's been a
Yeah.
while since I read those.
So I do like that idea because then it's also it's a nice thing where he's still keeping his identity secret to protect them, but it also eliminates some stuff that we've all already seen
when you
through every iteration.
Fly into space and save half of reality and die in the process and come back to life. I mean, how do you argue with that, right? Like, you know, half the universe got wiped out and you helped to change that. Okay,
yeah.
I guess you can be Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you're not grounded. As long as Tony stops hitting on me, and apparently Happy and I are having a thing.
Yeah.
Which I didn't see coming, but I like that Happy Hogan is still in.
Yeah.
And in Spider-Man it works because he's the right character that could connect.
Yeah. In the comics, when Spider-Man joins the Avengers, he and Mary Jane move in with Tony Stark, and Aunt May and Jarvis have a thing for a while.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But Aunt May was much older, and Jarvis wasn't a machine in that version. So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right, so I think that about does it for this one.
That was a long and rambly podcast.
It was, but that's how we do. That's how we do.
Well, I mean, so we know that afterwards they're doing an Eternals movie.
Right.
They're doing, which is like a Jack Kirby Space Gods kind of story. They're doing a Black Widow probably origin backstory movie. I think, which will be awesome. Yeah. And I'm kind of hoping Bucky will be in at some point, maybe in the
Bucky
past.
or also Hawkeye.
Yeah, Hawkeye should be in it for sure. And then there's other, obviously they're going to do
Doctor Strange. Too.
They're going to do Captain Marvel. They're going to do Black Panther. Obviously.
Black Panther 2 is confirmed happening. Doctor Strange 2 is confirmed.
I hope that they do Thor 4.
Yeah, well,
with Taika Waititi.
Out of all the franchises that are going, like I've said it before, but coming up to Infinity War, you're like all the other guys' franchise are kind of done, unless they do like Cap with. Now they're doing it as a web series, like on the Marvel,
the Bucky and
Falcon
story. Yeah.
But if you were going to continue Cap movies, then those are your two characters to do it. But out of OG Avengers, I'm like. Especially with how the first two Thor movies have been received. Like, okay, Thor 3 is coming out and then Thor's done. But Ragnarok was what Ragnarok was. And it struck a chord. It Ragnaroked, yes. It struck a chord, so now I'm like, you're not going to want to walk away from this. Especially with Guardians being in the precarious position that it's in.
Yeah.
You're like, that's potentially your cosmic franchise. That's your out there franchise.
Yep.
So
and they kind of left the Asgardian story a little bit like what's happening with them. Right?
Yeah.
So they have to have plans for that.
Yeah.
And
it's going to be interesting to see how the movies go forward, especially with the streaming service, because now you can get so many. They're starting to do other things, like Loki's getting a show. Scarlet Witch.
It's like young Loki's story.
Oh, cool!
Narrated by. Tom Hiddleston.
Nice.
But it's not going to be starring him. It's going to be starring younger.
I wanted Tom back because he's terrific.
And apparently a rom-com for Vision and the Scarlet Witch.
Perfect.
Is really funny.
Perfect.
Yeah. Especially like if he comes back as like the gray Vision without the emotions, which I assume that he probably will. That'll be interesting.
Which Screen Junkies made the thing like we want a rom-com spin-off, and when I heard that idea, I'm like. That's the movie I never knew I wanted. Like that'd be amazing. So I'm in.
And they did that. Like in the comics, they had their own series. And
which was the guy Joe Starr's point. He was like, no, there's precedent for this, and it'd just be the rom-com you never knew you wanted. I'm like, this sounds fantastic. I'd still love a Moon Knight show, but. Anyways.
Yeah. So I mean, with they've said that the adult type stuff won't be on the Disney Plus streaming service. but they do own 60% of Hulu.
Exactly. Like it could still be in the same continuity, just on a different thing.
Yeah. So I mean, I would hope that at some point they would even take those characters from the Netflix shows and continue on Hulu, but we'll see how that goes.
I read a thing because Netflix released a statement and the Marvel released a statement after the official cancellation of Punisher and Jessica Jones, where it's within 2 to 3 years or something of cancellation, it can't be on another service.
Yeah, it has to be. They can't appear as those characters in any other form.
Yeah,
within however many years it is. Yeah,
which is like 2 years is nothing. Like
that's how long it takes to
get the show ready.
Yeah.
So it's I'm hoping if they do come back, you'll get. Like, I like Jessica Jones, just season 2 was terrible.
I didn't really like it at all. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
And then I'd love Heroes for Hire. Punisher has been. I'm halfway through the second season, and it is terrific.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen either of the Punishers.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like they need to continue Daredevil.
What they've set up.
And both Luke Cage and Iron Fist season 2 was so much better than season 1. They both kind of ended on a bit of a cliffhanger, and then you need to kind to get them together at some point. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's still future abilities there, but we'll just see if it ever goes anywhere.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'd still love to see, Daredevil and Spider-Man team up, and maybe now that it's not on Netflix, that'll be the opportunity for that, right?
Exactly.
But who knows?
We'll see.
And there's gonna be Fantastic Four and X-Men stuff at some point too, in some format, right?
Which I'm still wondering how they're like.
They're just waiting for Brazil and another country to kind of get over or like to approve everything. So
right.
Yeah.
I'm still wondering with Endgame, just because if you've ever got an advertising slot for your upcoming projects, like that's the time. So part of me is wondering, like, is Endgame going to be chock full of post-credit scenes that are like, but here's what's coming?
They don't officially have the ability to do it yet, right? They'd have to. I don't know.
The thing with the post-credit scene though is it's not hard to shoot.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, the one with the shawarma they shot after the premiere, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, and other times it's just easy enough to call, like, once it's done, just be like, okay, even if we're not actually showing people, we'll just have body doubles so there's not a cast. But it's a voice. Like, a Wolverine one would be easy. It's just a guy with hair.
Yeah, they need to not do Wolverine right
I know. But if you ever wanted to advertise the X-Men, unfortunately, he is the cash cow. That would be the way to get people hype. It'd be him or some dude in a helmet or something, like...
Some dude in a helmet? Like
for Magneto, behind, you could do something like that, or you get what I mean.
Yep.
Like, you can film around it, so it's just like, hey, these characters are home, they are coming.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Well, dear listener, thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed listening to and watching us ramble on about comic book movies and shows. What do you think? How excited are you for Captain Marvel? Are you like crazy stoked? Are you? Yeah. Are you looking forward to Infinity War? What are your thoughts on Shazam? Definitely check out those articles Steve wrote about the legal history of the name Captain Marvel. It is ridiculously complicated and complex and very interesting.
And it kind of spans all of comic book history.
Yeah, seriously.
Like it really does.
Yeah, it goes
from the 1930s till now.
Yeah. Up until, because the newest development even happened within the last 10 years.
Well,
right?
there's movies coming out, so
yeah,
there you go there too.
Which the dude playing Zach Levy in his Shazam outfit, there's a picture going around on the internet of him holding a Captain Marvel comic book. Funny. Just having some fun with that. All right, well, thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed, and God bless, my friends. Take care.
Bye.
Peace.